What you mean you don't know Pana? She's dope. What you mean? What you mean? What you mean? What you mean?
What is poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl DOPEaxxPANA, and today I'm going to share with you guys how I pre-part for my medium knotless box braids. This can differ from head to head just depending on your client's head shape or the density of their hair, but I'm going to give you guys a guideline of what I do. So I start from doing a part ear to ear, which you guys always see me do. It doesn't matter what hairstyle I'm doing. I like to separate the back from the front, and then I'm going to do a part down the middle, and this will just help add versatility to the style. So this client actually wants a side part, but I like to give them options so that later on down the road, if she decides she wants a middle part, she can always pull her braids and wear them that way as well. I like to start my parting in the front just because it really helps me determine the size, and I feel like it's easier to match up the back that way when my front is already established. So when I'm doing medium size, I always do 5 rows in the front on each side, so that's a total of 10 rows. This is pretty standard, like on any client. I know that I'm gonna fit 5 rows in here, and that's my medium size, and that's how I kind of try to keep my braids the same size from people to people. So if they're like, oh, I saw you do medium on blah blah blah, and I really like that, then I can kind of mimic that to their head. All these parts are pretty much just a guideline, but once I feel comfortable with the section, I'm gonna go ahead and braid it off. If I do need to correct a part or move a part or anything, I'm just gonna take the section down and fix it, and then I'll re-braid it back up. If you watch a lot of my videos, you guys know that I don't typically pre-part. It doesn't really speed up the process for me, but I don't think it's because this method is not beneficial. It's just I haven't really done it enough to kind of get my rhythm and my speed with it. I really think if you are trying to try out a technique and see if it works for you, you definitely need to do it, at least like work on it for, you know, 3 to 4 weeks, like a month, and then you'll really see if it's beneficial to you. I pre-part only when I'm recording a video about pre-parting, pretty much. So this is definitely something that I feel like I can work on, and the process will speed up for me. It takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to pre-part a client's entire head. I'm not sure if that's like standard or if that's long or whatever, but yeah. This definitely will help with consistency. If you're someone who has an issue getting your braids the same size or bricklaying your parts, it definitely helps you see the head better. And if you're someone who gets tired while you're braiding and you're like, okay, I'm gonna make this braid 2 braids instead of 3 or 4, then it definitely holds you accountable because you can see your parts and it's already laid out and ready to go. So I'm not going to show me parting out the front of the other side of my client's head just because I'm literally doing the same exact thing that I'm doing over here. You definitely want to make sure that both sides of the head are symmetrical. That creates balance. And so I'm just going to mimic the same exact thing I'm doing here on the opposite side. So once I'm done with this side, we'll get straight into the back. So in the back, I'm going to part from ear to ear, and this part is going to be going underneath that first row that's in the front. The parts that are going to be below this are the only parts that are not going to match up with the front. So for this lower section, I usually part it in 2 or 3. It just depends on what size I'm doing. Today, I parted it into 3 when I really should have parted it into 2 because for my 3 is what I typically do for a small size. But I felt like her hair was really thick underneath and I didn't want those rows to be gigantic. But now that I'm actually like looking at it after doing it, I really should have parted this into 2. So if you are going to be mimicking this video, then just keep that in mind. You want to part this bottom section into 2 for a medium size. You want all of your rows to mimic each other in size. So as I'm braiding these rows off, you can kind of see where I made that mistake of parting it into too many rows because these rows are a lot thinner than the rows at the top and you don't want that. So sometimes when I'm actually doing a style versus like stepping back and looking at it, I don't notice these things because when I was in her head, obviously it felt cool. But now that I'm actually looking at it, I can see that these rows are really thin. So you just want to make sure that for that consistency, these rows, like the size of each row is matching up. You really want to step back and take a look. So all of the rest of the rows that I'm doing in the back are gonna match up with the rows in the front. You can see that a couple times I have to take down those braids and kind of fix that. So don't be afraid to kind of take down your braids and fix your parts. Like I said, this part takes about 45 minutes to an hour for me to pre-part out my client's entire head. I haven't really found a rhythm for doing it yet. So like I said, I don't know if that's like a good amount of time or if that's long, but you just want to make sure that you're really matching up those parts with the front with these ones in the back. And the reason why is because if you don't and it's off, when your client's hair is done, you're gonna really be able to see that first part that we did from ear to ear, and you want that to be covered. You don't want to see that. It's gonna look like your client has like braids in the front and then another set of braids in the back. So you want to really try to match up these lines in the back and the front so that all your rows fall and kind of merge together. So remember that these parts are, you want to definitely try to get them as straight as you can, but they are a guideline. So I noticed in my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th part, there's kind of like a dip in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and fix that when I actually get to that row and get to braiding it. So if you see like little minor errors like that you didn't catch as you were pre-parting it out, don't worry about that. You can always go through and touch up those parts as you're braiding. So this last section that I'm about to take down is actually going to be split into 2 braids, and I'm just going to match that up with the 2 rows that are in the front and the middle. So yes guys, this is what her head looks like fully parted out. This is my pre-parting method for medium-sized knotless box braids, and this is a great method if you are someone who wants to focus on your consistency, if you're having an issue with time, or I feel like it just helps when you can see like all of your parts and how much you have done, especially if your client has extremely thick hair. It may be beneficial for you to fully section out. So I hope this video was really helpful to you guys. I'll give you a little short clip of what her hair looked like at the end. I didn't do like a full video just because she wasn't feeling well. So I hope this method really helped you guys out. Let me know in the comment section if this is how you guys pre-part. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure you smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Click that notification bell. I'm going to be dropping more tips for you guys. And as always, I will catch you guys in my next video.
What you mean you don't know Pana? She's dope. What you mean? What you mean? What you mean? What you mean?